104.5 The Team, your home for New York Yankees baseball. Last night, the Yankees win a game over the Reds that a lot of people thought they would probably drop because of the extra innings. So we go out to Cincinnati. Lance McAlister, he does the pre and the post game for the Reds. He's a host on ESPN 1530. Lance, are Reds fans particularly angry after a loss of a game that they probably should have won last night?
Guys, I think this fan base is gradually accepting that this team is what it is, and that's in a rebuild. It's going to have good moments. It's going to have bad moments. I've tried to explain over the last 2 years that rebuilds are never quick. They're never easy. They're never clean. They're going to take some time, and you're going to go, this team has taken a roller coaster ride. They started 7-2, then they lost 11 of 14, then they won 5 in a row, 7 of 8 in a stretch, and they lost last night. And when you have young pitching, you're going to have hit and miss moments, and last night was a miss moment with Rookie Davis on the mound.
Yeah, Rookie Davis picked up his first Major League Baseball win earlier in the season, but he was a former Yankee farmhand. What do you make of Rookie Davis going forward for the rest of his career?
I think it's a question that management has to consider right now about his place in the rotation. He's obviously young. He's still developing. Yet I think he's made 5 starts. He's pitched a total of maybe 19 innings, I think it is. His previous start, he went 5 shutout innings, got his first Major League win. Last night, he was not very pitch efficient and was out early. And I think this organization has to weigh if he's ready right now versus how does he get ready if he's not on the Major League level versus can you continue to ask your bullpen to cover 4 and 5 innings when he goes out if he's not going to give you length in ball games. And they have some options. Some of them are a bit dinged up right now on the DL, but this has been a kind of a revolving door for this organization. They've already used 19 pitchers. I mean, think about that. We're 32 games into the season. They've used 19 pitchers already, and part of that is the plan. They're running through some arms because they have to cover innings out of the bullpen. But I wonder how long they can continue to do it if Rookie Davis is only going to go 4 1/3 innings for this team.
Lance McAlister with us right now, 104.5 The Team. Lance on ESPN 1530 on Cincinnati.
Let's just go back to that former Cincinnati Red, Aroldis Chapman. Throwing so fast, we're talking 103, 104, 105 miles per hour. As his career continues, did you ever fear, I guess Yankee fans now fear that it's eventually going to stop and he's going to lose that miles per hour and he could be out of the league because of how hard he throws? His shelf life isn't too long.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is to consider he was, in their perfect world, he was going to be a starter. And early on in his Major League career, when he was starting, he just wasn't consistent. He was throwing a lot of pitches, walking a lot of guys. The Reds actually sent him to AAA to try to get his mechanics back in line. He's a long and lanky guy, and it's tough sometimes to repeat the motion. Well, they kind of just scrapped, and Dusty Baker kind of overvalued the closer when he was here, and there was kind of a butting of heads within the organization of how he best served this organization. They put him in the bullpen. The rest, they say, is history, and it may in the end save him to a certain extent because he's not throwing, obviously, 80, 90, 100 pitches per game. He's throwing 10, 12, 15 pitches at once, maybe consecutive days, maybe 3 days in a row, but the patterns are much different as a closer and may ultimately save him in the end.
Lance, tonight's game is going to be CC Sabathia. Is this a situation where the Great American Ballpark may have to stop all flights over it because baseballs might be flying out?
Yeah, it's funny. Adelman is weird. For all the dynamics of this organization with high draft picks as pitchers and guys they really value, Tim Adelman's been like an afterthought for this team for the last 2 years. But all he does is pitch effectively for this team, and I think everybody kind of scratches their head. He'll leave them out after 6 quality innings, and they say, "Well, how did he do that? He's not throwing 100 miles an hour. He's not striking out double-digit guys, but quietly and effectively, and in a weird kind of way, he's the example." It's weird. Bronson Arroyo and Tim Adelman are kind of examples for the young hotshots to learn how to get. They get into trouble, to learn how to get out of trouble by limiting the damage. And he's never spectacular, and he won't blow you away. I mean, heck, he was pitching an independent ball a couple of years ago. I think he was a 29th round pick of the Orioles. He was released by Baltimore, an afterthought by the Reds. But all he does is find a way to get major league hitters out, and I think there's a lot of guys in this organization who could learn a lot from Tim Adelman.
Lance McAlister with us when we got questions about Cincinnati sports. He's the man we call right here on 104.5 The Team. So, Lance, somebody was going to give Joe Mixon a shot. Are you shocked it was the Bengals, and what has the response been to him?
I am not shocked. Mike Brown has made it clear over the years he is the, air quotes here, the redeemer. He understands second chances. It has been a mixed bag from the fan base. I've been very vocal. I would not have done it. I understand second chances. I'm all for second chances. Hell, I laid the crusade for Pete Rose getting a second chance, but I wouldn't have done it here. This organization's gone through too much. I don't think it was worth the hassle of trying to put them through it again. It's a team that went 6-9-1 last year. They've lost key free agents. I wouldn't have tossed this into the pile. Having said that, it's a high-value pick. He lasted till 48. They traded down. They added a pick. They still got him. And he's going to make it, if everybody expects him to do what he does on the field, if he does that, he'll add a dynamic to this offense that this team really, really needs. And honestly, that's the bottom line of this business for the Bengals and most of the NFL.
Have home games taken an effect because of the draftee? Did someone call into your show and say, look, I'm not going to be a Bengals fan anymore. I'm not going to buy tickets anymore because now Joe Mixon's on the roster?
I've heard it all. I've heard that. I've received the letters that fans have copied me on that they have sent to the Bengals saying they're done. I've heard from other fans who say, hey, they haven't won a playoff game since 1990. He's not banned from the league. What's wrong with cleaning the slate and giving him a chance to prove one way or another with us? If he screws up, get rid of him, but he hasn't screwed up as a Bengal, we'll go from there. It has been, it reached such a level of great debate, and then it kind of leveled off. And I haven't talked Mixon on my show for the last 3 or 4 days, ultimately, and I think everybody's moved into the mode of, let's see what he does now as a Bengal.
I love it, man. Lance McAlister, you know your stuff. That's why we always pick your brain when Cincinnati hits the news, and we appreciate you making time for us.
Guys, you got it anytime. You've got the number. Call me whenever you need me.